Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our show. We are going to begin with important information that could benefit both police and the public in the new year. In order to reduce dangerous situations to both, a survey has been conducted with 500 law enforcement personnel. Here to comment on that, we welcome Rick Smith, founder of the leading maker of police body cams. Good morning, Rick. Nice to have you with us.
Good morning. It's great to be here.
Rick, maybe you can tell us, what is the current state of police-community relations in this country?
Well, the last few years have been pretty rough. It's been a hard time to be a cop in America. You know, following the events in Ferguson, Missouri, and others, we've seen lots of, I would say, just negativity towards policing, but it's changing. Partially because of body cameras, we're seeing complaints against police plummeting by as much as 90%. And officers are getting a little bit of a spring in their step back. It's a bit of a new day, and we're trying to accelerate that trend by creating new tools to help address some of the current challenges they still face.
So tell us about the law enforcement study that Axon Academy conducted and some of the results.
Well, what we heard back was overwhelmingly 9 out of 10 officers said that they need better training on less lethal tools. And the majority of them said that the training they're getting on de-escalation just really needs to be improved. And of course, de-escalation are the skills for how do you deal with things like people that are in a mental health crisis so that you can avoid them from escalating the situation to where an officer might have to use violence or use force to overcome violent resistance.
So, Rick, what do you think now is the next step? What will be done then to address the need for better de-escalation training?
Well, one thing we try to do is take a look at what new technology trends are happening across society that might be able to help with the challenges police are facing. And one of the things we're pretty excited about are these things, these virtual reality headsets. You might have seen your kids playing virtual reality video games on them. And by taking this gear, we're now able to offer an entirely new type of training to officers. So instead of sitting in a classroom listening to an instructor give them a checklist on the do's and don'ts, we're able to actually use this technology to put them into a very immersive scene where they're dealing with a mental health crisis. In fact, we can even put them into the shoes of the person who's in the mental health crisis so they can see what it's like for those people, what they're experiencing when police officers show up with the lights and sirens and the bright flashlights and the potentially more aggressive old school policing techniques, so they can learn how some of those techniques might actually be counterproductive because they might trigger someone who's already in a state of crisis to become more agitated or more violent. And so we can then replay those same scenarios where they can see how some of the more modern policing techniques called crisis intervention training can be used to help de-escalate those situations. And ultimately, I think that's what's in everyone's interest is we want to see less cases where there's outbursts of violence and the police have to use force to contain it. If police can use better techniques to help get people to calm down and get things under control, everybody's much better off.